Welcome to the Bachelor Universe Podcast. I am your host, Jim Alexander, and today I will be reviewing episode 3 of The Bachelor. A lot happens once again on this episode. We will start off with Amanda and Lauren B bad-mouthing Olivia. That is the first introduction to the episode. That's the first thing that happens, which follows Chris Harrison with a date card, and Lauren B gets it. So there we go. Gossip time is over, and Lauren B gets it. The date card, of course. And Ben arrives to pick her up in a fancy Mustang convertible, no top, nice summer ride. So that's cool. So Ben invites Lauren to a plane. Yeah, so he drives her out. And he gets to a spot and there's a plane ready for her to go on with him. So, of course, Ben is going to be spearheading this plane. And off they go, flying off in a plane that really resembles the Wright brothers. Like, legitimately, this could have been a Wright brothers type of plane. Like, no top over it, nothing. Looks like it was built in 1914. And Ben is kind of steering it. So definitely reminded me of him being Baloo. Remember Baloo from Tailspin, the Disney character? Flew that yellow plane. Well, that was Ben today. So Baloo Ben is what I'm going to call it for this episode. They fly over to Bachelor Mansion. I guess that was good coordination. And, of course, everyone notices in the house that they're flying over the top. It's Ben and Lauren B. So every girl in the house is jealous as Ben and Lauren fly over and they're making out, fittingly, as they fly over to Bachelor Mansion. Emily, one of the twins, mentions that it could have been her flying over the house. Well, it wasn't you, Emily, so neither your twin. Take it in. So then Baloo Ben takes Lauren B to an abandoned field. That's where they land. And you don't know if they landed because they were ran out of fuel or this was his spot. So they go to an abandoned, huge, giant field, some land in the mountain ranges. And they walk and there's nothing there. And they keep on walking and there's nothing there until they see and spot a giant hot tub. Now this has become a theme for the season. These giant hot tubs are popping out everywhere, seemingly wherever you go. Just last week, you had a giant hot tub. Every time this guy, is there some kind of contractual thing that he requires hot tubs everywhere? Never seen that many hot tubs in 3 episodes of a Bachelor or Bachelorette season. So records are being broken. So then they go into the giant hot tub in the middle of this field with nothing around. For all I know, they could have been somewhere in the middle of an African desert. At least I will say this. It was an upgrade from last week's hot tub. I mean, you can't possibly go worse than the hot tub at a department store that last week Kayla and Ben had to share with Kevin Hart. So I guess being in some field with nothing there besides you and Lauren B, not too bad. A lot of making out between the two, and looks like a success to me. So then we go back to the house. While talking to JoJo, Kayla comes to a realization. So Kayla realizes that apparently she's not the only one dating him, and that strikes her in a very negative way to the point where she's crying her eyes out. So there is Kayla bawling and crying, and apparently it took her to week 3 to figure out that there's like 15 other chicks in the house with her. Yeah, This is going to be a tough one. This is the same girl that dropped an actual boyfriend because she saw Ben on TV. Go figure. So then the dinner date with Lauren. Ben proceeds to ask her, what does life look like for you? So there's a tongue twister there. Lauren responds with, what do you mean? Which is a great response. Who asks what does life look like for you? I mean, that is just such a bland and vague and awkward question. So yeah, good response by Lauren. That was the apex of that date, that dinner date. Back at the house, a date card arrives. So it's a group date. It's Amanda, Haley, Jennifer, Russian Shasha, one of my favorites, Amber, Leah, Lauren H., Olivia, Jamie, Rachel, Lace, and Emily all get a date. So that pretty much means the entire house got a date. Back out to Ben and Lauren on their dinner date. They go into a deeper conversation. They actually start talking about their fathers. And Ben tells her about his father having gone through triple bypass surgery. And then, of course, she talks about her father, about how he mows the lawn and how that's like one of her most pleasurable memories, that her father does things like that. I guess it's kind of cute, but apparently Lauren's father gets excited over mowing the lawn. So, okay, someone's got to do it, right? And of course, Ben proceeds to offer her the most obvious rose. So she accepts, and the date isn't over. So it's like, keeps on going and going and going. Ben walks her over to a barn. Yeah, so I mean, instead of like sheep and cows, we get treated to a concert. So a concert is going on in the middle of this barn. Interestingly enough, it is being played by Lucy Angel. No idea who that is. Clearly they were able to book her in a barn because not many acts would have been there. So Lucy Angel, and of course Ben mentions how he just loves this performer. Once again, no idea who that is. But yeah, it was like a slew of a few blondes. So it was like 3 blondes in a band. So I guess that kind of beats some sheep and cows, right? I take the 3 blondes. So they dance, they kiss, and that concludes the date. That's a really good date for Lauren B. and Ben. I mean, he dragged her to like 5 different places. You had a dinner date, you had a barn performance, you had a Baloo trip on a tailspin plane, and yeah, and then they have a hot tub time in like some middle of wilderness, or actually, yeah, it was middle of nowhere, so some field. Not a bad day. So now it takes us to the group date, that giant group date. So who's going to be on it? We know that. Pretty much the entire house. Where are they going? To date, they are headed to the LA Coliseum, soon to be new home of the LA Rams. So what are they going to do at the LA Coliseum? It's got to be a sport, right? Football? Not quite. The European kind of football, which would be soccer. So it's a soccer date. Ben introduces the group of ladies to Alex Morgan and Kelly O'Hara, actual stars from the USA women's soccer team, and probably 2 of the hottest girls in sports they could have picked. Alex Morgan is just smoking hot. So there they are. 2 of the best. Actually got some stars for once. And they will be teaching these women how to play soccer. Well, you would think girls at some point would be playing soccer or have some experience with it. They don't. The struggle is real. None of these girls can master a chest bounce. I won't even go there. I mean, what a shame, huh? Jubilee's freaking out and crying about not being bench tied back in the house. So Jubilee's left. And back to the soccer field. Of course, soccer practice concludes, and the coach arrives. The coach, number 35, Chris Harrison. Yeah, Chris Harrison prances out in a U.S. soccer jersey, number 35. I don't know what 35 stands for, but definitely not his age. So the teams are now split up. The teams are made and divided. There's a stripes team and there's a stars team. Get it? The whole flag thing? Yeah. USA. And the winning team gets an after party with Ben. So there's a lot at stake there. The biggest news might be that the twins are actually separated. They're on two different teams. So no twin magic. So soccer game's underway, and these girls are absolutely excelling at one thing, which is sucking and scoring on their own team. So yeah, I mean, talk about like not being able to stop the ball or the goalie just having, I'm not going to even touch it. It's just painful to watch. Painful struggle, and Ben actually summed it up best. He's like, I don't think this game is ever going to end. So, which he was right about, because it was tied at 3-3 when the time runs out. So, of course, we need extra time in this battle of the worst. Amber finally closes the game with a game winner, if you want to call that. It was a shot that was deflected multiple times, and the goalie couldn't cradle it. So Amber's a star, and the stars walk away as losers. So the star team leaves, losers. Although they, of course, in true sporty fashion, which is probably the first time they actually did something sporty, and they walk away claiming that they're still the better team, even though after they lose it. So that is very sore loser type of mentality, which kind of prove. It was nice. Nice to see that they finally acted like actual athletes. So the winners get to spend time with Ben, and by winners, I kind of mean only Olivia. Olivia, of course, gets Ben away from the women, and the gossip begins. The gossip begins that Olivia, well, her toes are kind of ugly or disgusting. That is the chatter. That is the talk among the women. So Olivia's toes are the centerpiece topic. Of course, Jamie, the traitor, she goes to Olivia and notify her about the toe chatter. Thanks, Jamie. Thanks for being a tattletale. Ugh. And back at the mansion, a date card arrives. So who's it going to be? It's going to be Jubilee. So Jubilous Joy from Jubilee doesn't really appear. She seems kind of more stunned than actually happy. Then Amber gets some alone time with Ben. So finally Amber gets some free time with Ben. Ben tells her he's glad that she's there. No, he isn't. I mean, it's pretty obvious he doesn't care much about her. They do kiss, but I mean, come on, it's probably just adding to his tally, right, of kisses. But no, actually it wasn't. Amber gets a rose. Now, that was surprising. Didn't see that one coming. So, well, I stand corrected, I guess. But Olivia, being kind of disappointed, she did find solace in the fact that Ben touched her knee when he was getting up. Like when he was sitting with all the women, and when he got up, he kind of brushed against her knee. So Olivia clearly took that as a sign that he's reassuring her and likes her, you know. Because, I mean, that's the most obvious thing, right? Is, of course, he would do that to her. Now, the Jubilee date. So Jubilee's one-on-one date is up next, and she's still in shock that she's headed to a date. Girl, what'd you come here for? Do you not realize that you might get a date and that should be like a good thing? But no, Jubilee doesn't see it that way, apparently. Whatever. So she looks is underwhelmed, and actually calls out Ben on it. Yeah. She tells Ben that he's 20 minutes late, and that is absolutely unacceptable, according to Jubilee. So look at that. Calling out Ben for being late. So she goes outside with him, and there's noise. And the noise is from a helicopter. So another plane date. A helicopter basically mounting and arriving on the driveway of the mansion. And Jubilee, of course, announces that she hates flying, is afraid of it, and she's almost willing to give off the date to someone else. Well, that's good. And of course, the women are in agony as Jubilee finally decides to go in a helicopter and go off with Ben. They're jealous that she was willing to give up her date. So where do they go? They fly over to a spa. And the spa, when they arrived there, had a table with food actually prepared. We've seen that before. And what we haven't seen, the most notable thing from this episode is that Ben and Jubilee actually tried some food. Like on camera, you actually see them trying the food. That never happens on The Bachelor or Bachelorette. You just see the elegant food and you never see anyone eating. But they were actually eating. So, wow. Kudos to them for actually eating on camera. But Jubilee doesn't appreciate caviar as she almost vomits by trying it. So, there's a good meal right there for you. Of course, she couldn't take it in. So the first time we see someone eating on camera, of course, they're spitting out the food. Way to go. But still proud of them trying it. So Ben clearly is into Jubilee. He does state that he's intrigued with her, which is a theme that runs throughout this date. Then they're kind of messing around and playing. By messing around, they're like playing some stupid game. I don't know what it was. Some like boring thing they were doing. And she makes a reference, calling him a white boy. And he's not actually offended. And right away, she just lights up and smiles and is thrilled that he didn't get offended. So Ben earned his street cred. He earned his cred right there from Jubilee for taking it and not being offended. So then they go to a hot tub, obviously. That's what you do on this season. You just always end up in a hot tub. So there's another notable mission, not what they really talked about in the hot tub. There's a giant zit hanging off, just popping at you. Red giant zit from Ben's shoulder. So we are officially entering Clint territory right here. So, the zits are just apparent, and we need JJ or Clint to pop them for him. There's two shows in a row, two Bachelor shows in a row. There's a zit gate. So, something of note. For like the 50th time, Ben mentions that Jubilee intrigues him, which is something we've heard, like I said, for about 50 times. We get it. We get it, man. Just don't bring it up. On to the night portion of the date. So during the dinner date, Ben asks Jubilee about her past. And this kind of gets a bit emotional and tough. Jubilee reveals that she hasn't gone back to Haiti because she has a fear of it and facing her past, and that she feels she's not, quote-unquote, lovable. Haven't we heard that word from the lead on this season, right? The whole not being lovable getting played out. Guys, just stop. But she reveals that basically her entire family had died, which is pretty sad to hear. And she's pretty much the only one remaining, and she feels guilty about it, and that she won't go back unless it's with someone. That's kind of understandable and, unfortunate. The girl has definitely been through a lot, it seems like. She's a war vet and orphan, and, now you hear that her family is all died. So, a strong individual is Jubilee. And, of course, Ben gives her a rose, and she accepts. So, there you go. 2 for 2 in this episode. 2 roses. Well, actually, Amber got one, so everyone's getting roses. But on the one-on-one dates, Lauren B and Jubilee get it. So everyone at the house is 100% sure that Jubilee is not coming back. They were positive about that, but wouldn't you know, Jamie discovers in the morning that Jubilee's in bed. She came back from the date. So Jubilee's back in the house, and everyone is shocked. Lauren H starts commenting, and who's Lauren H? Like, who is she on the show? Why is she on there? And why is she talking now? So Lauren H is now apparently getting a lot of airtime. We don't know who she is because she's had no interaction. So, yeah, well, there you go. Lauren Age. She's like the Samantha Stefan of Chris Soule's season. Like, why is she still there? Who is she? There it is. So Ben arrives in the house to announce to the ladies something important. He's feeling down because he received word that 2 people from his hometown have passed away due to a plane crash. So more sombering news on this episode. So obviously Ben's in rough shape and not feeling right. And Olivia takes advantage of that situation to make sure she gets to talk to him and let him know about the way she's feeling, because it's important that she tells him. And what she really tells him about is Olivia being Olivia. I mean, what would you expect Olivia to really do or say? I mean, one thing about Olivia, she always capitalizes on every moment. She's just always there to take advantage of any situation. You can see why everyone despises her at the house. How, whenever there's an opportunity, she has a rose or not, she always finds a way to just steal Ben away. It happens every episode, happens multiple times. And Olivia, of course, needs to share some things with Ben. What does she share about?
Everyone has things on their body that they just wish they could change, or things. And mine, waist down, I hate my legs. I hate them. People have written blogs that I have cankles and try to be strong all the time, but it's the scariest thing ever.
I came in here a little down, and it's not exactly what I want to talk about. It'd be nice if some woman really took some time to just not have a lot of expectations and just comfort.
That was courtesy of ABC. So there was a kinkle talk. Olivia's kinkles have become a major news topic of this episode. Wow. Way to go, Olivia. Kinkle talk. Not important stuff, but that just shows Olivia's intentions and what she's after. So clearly Ben wanted to get comfort, and Olivia didn't do that at all. So there you go. So now back to Jubilee. So Jubilee walks into the kitchen, and everyone suddenly finds a reason to leave. It's kind of like that geek coming sitting at the cool table, and everyone just looking at him and saying, "Why are you here?" So yeah, it was awkward. But then Jubilee goes to find Ben and decides to give him a massage. Yeah, so there's a massage coming up for Ben. There's also a Becca sighting. Oh, Becca makes an appearance. Wow, she hasn't done much this season. So she's peeking at the massage, and Jubilee's doing apparently a good job. The woman's envy now reaches a boiling point, so they send Jamie, of course, to interrupt the massage. And obviously that turns into a team up against Jubilee, who just basically storms off and goes to her room and locks herself in it. And Ben, of course, notices the squabble and decides to go talk to Jubilee. Apparently he's reassuring her. Edgy Amber gets word of the situation and goes to the room to confront Jubilee. So Amber goes and confronts Jubilee about just kind of faking her way through it. So that was the big thing, that Jubilee actually being confronted by Amber in front of Ben, and Amber talking about how all the girls would have been so happy to get a date like she did and go on the helicopter, but she was kind of ungrateful to it. And Ben just stops Amber in her track and comes to Jubilee's aid and reassures her and tells her how strong she is and how he likes her for her speaking out for what she believes in. And basically Amber's kind of left stranded. And yeah, so Ben steps up for Jubilee. Then Lace comes around and she asks to see Ben. And this is what happens.
I think you are amazing. I'm mad at myself for the way I've acted since I've been here. This has been really rough for me. I have a lot of work to do on myself. And I want to be able to offer you more.
I think
And like, I just feel like going home might be easier, and maybe just continue working on myself and trying to better myself, because my tattoo says you can't love someone else until you truly love yourself. And I don't know if I truly love myself just yet. I have a lot of work to do on myself. And I think this experience just made me realize it. And I tried so hard, and the connection just wasn't there.
That was courtesy of ABC. So there it was. Ben and Lace having that conversation. Lace removing herself from the show. Just saying that she just isn't herself and that she can't love herself and love someone else. She needs to love herself first. And Ben isn't the right guy. So look at that. Who would have thought Lace being the one to remove herself? One of the more controversial people on night one, and someone that you would think would be around for a while, creating some chaos, but out goes Lace by her own choosing. Now, I think it would have been coming to a point where she would have been down to the final three, and she would have been eliminated on this episode, but this time she kind of jumped the rose ceremony and eliminated herself. So speaking of rose ceremony, there was one, and Lauren H. gets the first rose. I still don't know who she is and why is she getting the first rose, but she did. It's just amazing that she's still there. Amanda gets the next one, the mother. Becca, Haley the twin, Emily the twin, so twins go back to back. Just give them one rose. They're a package deal. Rachel gets one. She's been really kind of quiet this season. Really hot girl, but quiet. Kayla, JoJo, Jennifer Boobage. Yes. Keep her around. Leah the footballer. And then it's down to the three people for one rose. Olivia, who's sweating buckets, apparently. Jamie, and the ravishing Russian, Shoshana. And, of course, Olivia gets a rose. She has to. I mean, it's pretty obvious. So Shoshana goes home. No more Russian talk. I certainly hope she has a green card, because this whole thing didn't really work out like she probably hoped for. And Jamie, well, she just proved that being friends with Caitlin Bristow doesn't get it done. Doesn't cut it for you. Doesn't get you far in a Bachelor. So, back to the drawing board. But Olivia, of course, got the ultimate reassurance. She mentions again that there was a sign that Ben squeezed her waist as he gave her the rose. So that must be it. So there it is. Olivia lives another day. As always, she makes it through. I mean, it's kind of a normal story at this point. Olivia, I mean, there's no way they would have let her go this early. This season's kind of centered around Olivia. You had Lace turn into the JJ, basically, from going from villain to favorite, but this is the next Bachelor episode. Probably expect a lot more of Olivia coming up, and a lot more chaos from Olivia, because she is definitely one to stick around, and next episodes will definitely feature a lot of her.
Where's Olivia? Probably jumping out of the cake. Hello!
Because that was amazing.
I just don't know. I don't know if I can do this, you guys. I don't know.
There was a lot of sobbing and crying and panic attacks from Olivia on the next episode, in a preview of the next episode. So it's all about Olivia pretty much. That's what we kind of expected, right? Interesting, right? Well, we'll see. All the clips used in this episode were courtesy ABC Television, the Bachelor, obviously, show. So those clips were brought to you by that. On the funny outtake scene towards the end, you had the Ben and Lauren B hot tub time. So the outtake was that Ben actually farted. Yes, Ben farted with Lauren B in the hot tub. So, way to impress a woman, just let one loose. Because they're pretty comfortable. Now, she must make it to the finals, right? I mean, he already farted in the hot tub with her. There you go. As I said, next episode should be a lot of Olivia. Does she stay or does she go? I think she sticks around for a long time still. I think it's just one of her many big outbursts and meltdowns to happen. A little bit of a surprise that Lace left on this episode, just because the way they built her in the first two. But Olivia's clearly taken over as the villain, which kind of was supposed to be Lace in the first episode. And Olivia appeared to be the good one, but that's not the case at this point. Olivia's the main villain, and they need her around. So that's what it was, and that's the episode. So a lot to look forward to from the next one. Thanks for joining me. Of course, you can reach my blog to read more about this and on chicagonow.com. So it's chicagonow.com/Bachelor Universe. Or just go to Google and type in Bachelor Universe, and it's going to be the first thing to pop up. So make sure to check that out. Or you can also follow me on Twitter on Monday nights, especially when The Bachelor airs. A lot of chatter for me, a lot of comments. So I spend the whole night on Twitter. So you can add me on Twitter or check me out at JimRKO. So at JimRKO. So that's the way you can reach me. Comment, hit me up on Twitter. Anything you want to hear about, or what did you think of the show? I'm interactive that way. So thanks for joining me on this episode of Bachelor Universe, and I will talk to you guys